Every story has an ending. Does our quest to play the top 100 courses in 10 years have a good ending? I'm Nish, and I'm here to guide you through this golfing journey. This is the Top 110 Golf Podcast. Bonus episode, the actual Open preview. So I've got a very special guest in with me today. We've got Lee from Harb7 Golf. Lee is, you probably have seen and heard of him if you're an avid listener. But Lee's a proper full-on golf nut, a bit of a open obsessive, and I tapped him up because I know he's into his betting. So he's a self-described poker shark. And more importantly, he knows when to lump on a 66-1 outsider. I'm hoping we're going to get that later. With a sharp eye for value and a healthy suspicion of the bookies' favourites, Lee blends gut instinct with golf knowledge and poker table psychology to sniff out the smart money before the odds tumble. He's not here to tip Rory at 9-2, which is the absolute obvious thing to do, but he's going to find a person that nobody's talking about just yet. So, hi Lee, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
As always, our pleasure, my friend. Now, you were the OG hype man for the Nish Invitational. You were there filming content for us and just generally amplifying it. And but I'll ask you about your golf. How's your golf been in the last few weeks? I've been watching a few clips on your Instagram feed. Mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a strange one, mate, to be honest. It's going a lot better than when I came back from the UAE. My golf game was in a bad place then. I was getting stuck on my swing so badly that I was striking the ball really bad, and it wasn't enjoyable. So I had a bit of a break, 6 weeks out, and then got back to it, ready for the Nish Invitational. I struck the ball really well. In fact, at the Nish Invitational, we hit the driving range, and I've never struck the ball so well, and that alarmed me because I thought whenever I've had a good driving range session, the round never goes well. But the round was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it massively. I didn't shoot a great score, but I don't think I got the breaks early on, and then I was in my own head a little bit about, do I play safe? Do I do the right thing? And then the driver ends up in my hand, and I'm putting it underneath a tree somewhere. So, but yeah, it's been really enjoyable. I love the day, mate. And since then, I've had several rounds, and things are going all right with the irons. But off the tee, which is normally my stronger point, the ball's hooking left, which I've never had that issue before, and I'm not sure how to fix it. So, if anyone's got any tips on how to fix a block hook, then I'm all ears.
Yeah, I do. I'm the same as you. I always find for me, it's an immutable law of golf. If I have a good range session before I play, I'm going to be toilet on the golf course.
Yeah.
It's just
What
always
is
the
that
way.
about? Like, you're striking the ball so well, and then you have a 10-minute break to get to the first tee, and all
Yeah,
of a sudden you don't know how to swing your club again.
I don't understand it. Yeah, it's just like it's like you've used your quota of good golf up on the driving range. So
Does it?
like, I try and do it the other way around. I'll kind of like, if I hit a couple of good shots, I'm done. I mean, you probably noticed I was filming and stuff like that on the day, but so I didn't really utilize the range as much. Grass range, have to bring up, that's a
Yeah.
full on game changer. But
Yeah.
I always think if I've hit a couple of good ones, right, don't play anymore because like, save it up for that course. It's an odd one,
Right.
isn't it? Well,
Yeah, you're
I
right.
have to bring something up, I'm afraid, mate, because I have been bragging about it pretty much relentlessly since it's happened,
Oh,
and that
no.
was a week ago ish. I got a full on bona fide hole in one with Chris.
Oh, I'm glad you brought it up because I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it today or
Oh,
not.
mate, I will scream about this from the rooftops.
Good. Just take me through it because you've had two now,
I've had two now,
and
yeah,
the
all in
closest
both in
I've
the
ever
month of
got, I
July.
think, is about 3 feet from the hole off of a tee. So
Yeah, I
I'd
mean
love to know
this.
what that feels like.
It was so I'll paint a picture for you. So it's the ninth hole at Reddish Vale, which is my home golf course, and it's a hole for me that's always been full of terrible memories. It's all uphill. It's the top bit of the course. So when you get to the green and when you get to the next tee, you look down on the rest of the course, and it's classic Mackenzie design. That there's always a point where you can pretty much see the whole golf course. So this is it. you tee off obviously quite low down. I think we're probably talking about a 20 to 30 foot elevation increase. So you're
Yeah.
always clubbing up, and the debate is always what's the wind like. You know, all along the left hand side, there's just crap, and it all falls away from the green.
I'm
So if you're
guessing
in
being the
there,
highest point as well, it's quite windy up on that
windy up there as
green.
well, yeah, absolutely. So we were lucky because the last few weeks have been fantastic in the UK weather-wise, haven't they? So
Yeah.
we didn't have much wind; it was quite humid, so the ball was actually flying quite far. But then, yeah, kind of just stood on the tee, and Chris was doing his classic, like it's taking a bit of time, like waiting for me to go first. Even on the signature hole challenge, I'm down with his game now. I've understood where he's doing now. He'll always wait for me to tee off first. He's got the honour, so you should do it. But yeah, sort of stepped up, and yeah, normal debate. Do you hit a 7 if it's windy? Do you hit an 8 normally? Do you hit a 9? And I thought, do you know what? I'm hitting it well today. I'll hit a nice easy 8. So
Yeah.
stepped up, lined it all up. I mean, it was just like before that round, actually, me and Chris, it's quite nice playing at Reddish Vale, me and Chris, because we'll sort of talk about our golf a little bit as we're going, because we don't really get a chance when we're playing the top 100 courses.
Yeah.
It's like, because he's taking that course in, so we don't really ever talk actual golf. And we were just talking about the benefits of visualization and things like that. I mean, I'm big into like, manifesting and all that kind of stuff, put it out there and it'll happen. So I did my thing. I always line up with get my club, and it runs through the ball, pick my target. But what I started doing now is in my mind I'll trace the line of the ball as I see it. So it just means I'm saving time. So I'm not then done my lining, and then I'm stood sort of for 20 seconds visualizing and wasting time. So yeah, stood over it, and I don't know what it was. I just kind of like thought I feel confident over this tee shot for whatever reason. Now, confident for me is just I feel like it's going to go. That's it.
Yeah.
So clipped it, and it was the sweetest sound. I mean, we've got the same irons, haven't we? We got P790s,
P790s,
TaylorMade, and when you hit those well, they just make an awesome noise. And where that tee box is, you just got a little bit of tree either side, so it just echoes a tiny little bit. So it had everything kind of viscerally that you need for that shot was there. And I hit this ball, and it set off exactly as I visualized it, and it just had this baby draw on it, and it was dead high ball flight. When I got fitted up, that was the thing about the irons. It was like a really high ball flight I was getting, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that looks like it's absolutely bob on the flag. So it bounces right at the top of the hill, and then it disappears. So you can't see the base of the flag when you're teeing off. It's bounced, and I'm like, I mean, it's not shot off either way. That is about as to the flag as it can get. Like, let's just see what happens when we get up there. Chris steps up, hits his ball, same thing, right over the flag, covering it. Chris hits a big ball, so he was like really easy 9-iron. And we get up there, and we're thinking, right, there's got to be 2 golf balls on the green here, easy, no problem at all. Get up there, puffing and panting because you're pushing your trolley up the hill, and there's only 1 ball on the green. So, what do we do as a kind of golfers we are? You're just like, oh man, it's gone long. It's gone through the fence. Oh no, this is like, oh God, what's going on here? And then Chris sort of just said, I don't know, mate. I think there might be one in the hole. Let's have a little look. So I did that classic, like, I don't want to look. You go and have a look and tell me what's going on. So we're walking up. So Chris first went to his ball, or the ball that was on the green, sorry, right at the back. And he's like, oh, that's mine. That's mine. I was like, oh, for freak's sake. Like, how is it possible that I've hit that ball on the top of the hill and then it's gone over the back? And then we sort of walked up to the hole, and Chris went, yeah, it's only in the hole, mate. It's only in the hole. I was like, put her up in the air, like, woo, all this sort of stuff. And, just give you exactly how you'd imagine you'd feel afterwards. Even to the extent where when we were the tee off back down the other way on the 10th, and then the old boys who were walking up the other hole, they were like, I take it one of you got an ace. I was like, yeah. I mean, how did he guess? And he goes, yeah, you're not supposed to game here to have fun. Well, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? We'll see you in the bar later, that kind of thing. So I was like,
did you have the bag camera on?
No.
Following into the hole.
Gutted. And like now, I think it's like if I'm playing golf in July, which seems to be the month to do this, that camera has to be on my bag at all
Yeah,
times. It just
yeah.
makes
Well,
sense, doesn't
you've
it?
got a year to think about it now.
Exactly, that's it. But how bizarre! We were both saying the same thing. It's really weird that both in July, so
Mm,
it's within a year. That's the second within a year. So Chris is Chris was like saying congratulations through gritted teeth actually because he's not had one yet and he's played golf
yeah.
pretty much all his life. So not that I rubbed that in, but
No, but mate, it's a big deal, isn't it? It's like people talk about all the sports. Hole in one for golf, it's like hitting a 170 check out at darts, 147
absolutely,
in snooker. So
yeah,
you've got a massive accolade twice. Me and Chris
twice,
haven't
mate.
had a hole in one, so both of us hate you.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm happy to put myself out there and be be hated.
You can hate me all you want. I've got
Yeah,
two hole in ones.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was dead funny because I obviously popped it on our Instagram feed, and we've got another guest of the podcast, previously the Top 100 Golf Guru, Alex. So he's obviously doing the Top 100 as well. And I'd posted the picture on my stories of like the ball in the cup, and he just went, "You." I was like, yeah, me, mate. Like, couldn't believe it. Absolutely incredible scenes. Didn't reply after that. Which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, it's, you go, I mean, I know because he's come close a couple of times, but yeah, you go through your whole life looking for that, don't you? It's a
You do, you do, you
perfect
do. I
moment.
never even think about it. Like quite often in those scenarios you talk about, if I hit the perfect shot, I just assume it's going to be close somewhere, and you expect to see it on the green. And if it's not, it's definitely skipped off the green or
Yeah.
had a bad bounce or run out or something. But yeah, to find it in the hole, mate, that must be pretty magical.
Yeah, we were also saying it was like kind of the way that shot went and it flew. I mean, it was perfect because it was like baby draw. Like, that's what everyone wants. Dead high ball flight, land softly on the green. And we said if we had a camera at the other end, you probably would have seen it land and then just kind of roll up to the hole and roll in, not kind of, oh, it's flying by and it needed the hole to stop it. It was just the
Yeah.
pace was absolutely
So
like
did you
perfect.
see
So
your pitch mark where it initially landed?
I did, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've got a picture. I mean, the pictures don't do it justice, do they? But it probably pitched
No,
about
oh yeah, I see
15
pictures on
feet
it all
short. Yeah, I think about 15 feet short, and then rolled out into the hole. So I was just like, uh, and in classic golf fashion, I topped my next tee shot.
mate.
So
The
there you
round
go.
was over then. The round was
That
over.
that was one of those things where you just go, you know, get back down to earth, mate. You are still Nish playing golf, so don't
Yeah.
don't expect it to be. So there was an ulterior motive for me asking you how your golf went, and that was basically so I could brag about my hole in one. And then when I've got the two guys with me next time, I'll be doing it again. So if you're listening to both episodes, you're going to hear the story yet again. I
Yeah.
want to get Chris's reaction. I want to see how he feels about it now in the fullness of time. Not that I'm competitive, So Lee, we've got you here to do the open special and sort of guide us really on where we can expect to put our hard-earned money.
Yeah, or I
So,
can tell you where not to put it. That's
or not
normally.
to put it. Yeah, I mean, I can give you a whole long list of people who aren't going to win. So that should be process of elimination,
I take it
probably.
that's where your money's sitting at the moment.
Exactly, exactly. Now, at the end of this episode, we've actually got a real, a nice special surprise for all of our listeners. So stick
Yeah,
around to the end to find out what it is. But let's dive in. Let's figure out what's going on. So the first thing I need to find out from you is, who is the smart money on, and why do you think so?
yeah. So obviously, I said in the bio, I'm not here to give you the obvious 5-2 tips, but I will say that the obvious money where everyone's going to be lumping is going to be sitting on Scotty Scheffler, current world number one, 3 wins in his last 4 starts, which is just ridiculous. And then um, what is he? The world's number one from tee to green right now as well, with all of his stats. Everything's just flying for him.
Mm,
Um, he's not a links specialist, which obviously I do think any links course plays into. Anyone that's grown up around links courses, they tend to have quite an advantage on the get go. But that bloke just seems to be able to play in any condition. Um, Windy, not windy, long grass, short grass, dry as hell. It doesn't matter. He seems to have a game for it. So, it's one I would stay away from. There's no point in my opinion, in lumping on Scotty unless you've got loads of money and you don't care whether you win or lose. You stick it on him and you put it on the nose, and it's that simple. I think he must be about 5-1 at the moment.
yeah, it's
Um,
remarkable how like consistent He is. You know, he's always there or thereabouts. You know, he's kind of. I know there's a lot of people. The world is crying out for the next Tiger Woods, isn't it? You know, there's so many
Sorry,
people
my
that just.
dog's just decided to open the door and
It's
come and see what's going on.
it's quite all right, my friend. Quite all right.
Mhm.
But the whole world is crying out for the next Tiger Woods,
Yeah,
and you know, uh, once in a lifetime, freakish athlete.
yeah,
You know, we're talking about full dominance, but also in an era when technology is taking its hold and swing analysis and all that kind of thing. You know, you can copy Tiger Woods' swing if you wanted to. I mean, I don't think it'll do your body any good,
no,
but you know, this guy is just he's come along and he's putting together runs that you know they're up there, aren't they? They're up
yeah,
there with the greats of the game.
they are. They are. The thing, the only thing he doesn't have, in regards to what poker. Sorry, I've got poker on the brain. What golf purists are looking for is just Tiger had that aura,
Yeah,
and that's irreplaceable. And that really is a once in a lifetime thing that a player comes along. He's like, the Michael Jordan of the golf world. And it's that simple. Whereas Scotty's got every attribute and maybe others that Tiger perhaps didn't have because he just seems like a machine. I mean, Tiger was a machine, but there's something about Scotty's game where I watch him on any course and he's just ridiculous.
he's just able
Uh,
to just do it, isn't it? I mean, also the swing doesn't make any sense because of this
yeah,
that footwork. It's just
yeah.
it's crazy. It's
But with
mind-boggling,
that
isn't it?
footwork, you expect inconsistency somewhere. I mean, how can you
Yeah,
have that much consistency in a swing when your feet are moving around that much? But
yeah.
he seems to have it, and fair play to him. But like I said, the only thing for me that isn't going with Scotty is there's that aura is just missing. That thing, that those mega fist pumps that Tiger had, that just fierceness on the golf course and that presence that he brought with him. Whereas, Scotty's an incredible player, but I'm not that, buzzing to watch him when
Correct.
they're on TV. That's kind of the only difference with those two
Yeah,
players, I would
he's
say.
not box office, is he?
He's not.
You know,
He's not.
even let's bring it back to our guy that we all would hope can win, and that's Rory. You know, Rory is box office. His box office for probably different reasons. It's skill as well, but also he wears his vulnerability
He
out on the
does.
course, and
Yeah.
that's highly relatable. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people like him for that. I mean, I do.
I
You know,
don't know whether it's just a Brit thing as well, but I'm just so captivated by Rory. Again, we're talking about aura, right? He's got something. He's got a presence to him that makes you want to watch him.
mm,
He's intriguing. There's always something going on with his game, and he's always out there scrapping till the end as well. If it's not gone well on day one, which in his past, especially in these situations, we've seen him have day
yeah.
one disasters, but he'll keep scrapping until there's no fight left. So
No, absolutely spot on. So, okay, we've taken the S word out of the
yeah,
equation at Scotty.
so
Um,
yeah, that's
who?
not where I'd be putting my money. So
Yeah,
if we're talking about somebody that's got home course knowledge, used to links environments, somebody that's got an incredible golf game. I mean, they all have, and it sounds like a dumb comment to make because to be at that level, they are all incredible. But Robert McIntyre for me, I also just there's something captivating about watching a left-hander swing. They make it look so easy, almost like
yeah.
he's not trying.
They just look
And
elegant, don't they, lefties? It's
yeah,
great.
but he's really good around links courses, and of course, with it being a home course, he's got I don't know, maybe there's something in it having a home advantage. It's in his nation. He's going to have a lot of support behind him, a lot of people following him around. I just think maybe there's a chance that something could happen this week with him.
Yeah, nice
Um,
guy as well. It'd be a lovely story, that, wouldn't it?
Nice guy, but he's just got great form as well. Tied sixth at St Andrews a few years back. It's just great in windy conditions as well. And we've had like a really crazy couple of weeks of mad sunshine. And I'd say in the last couple of days, the wind's really starting to pick up now.
Mm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it carries on through this week. So if the conditions do continue the way they've been for the last couple of days, I think he would. He's sitting at about 25 to 1. So if you were to put the bet on now, you're looking at 5 places paid on an each way bet. So you're getting almost the exact same odds as Scotty Scheffler, but 5 positions to pay out. So
Mm.
for me, much smarter money would be going on Rob McIntyre.
He
Can he win
also
it? I'm
I
not
watched.
sure, but can he finish in the top 5? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think top five is definitely realistic for him, isn't it? I watched a
Yeah,
couple of videos about the course, and one of the things that kind of kept coming out wasn't specifically about the course as such, but there's a lot of the people that I'd watched playing Portrush had said that Bob McIntyre had taught them how to play this little low runner or a little, like, if the wind's left to right, then play this kind of shape of shot and things like that. And I just think, yeah, I mean, I didn't know you were going to say sort of Bob McIntyre's name, but it feels like that creativity that he's got in those conditions, because they're his home conditions. That's what he plays in Scotland.
yeah, yeah. He
It,
grew up with it. He grew up with it. It knows it like the back of his hand as well. So
yeah,
yeah,
interesting. That's an
I just
interesting
think
shout. That.
I think that's great money, a great odds, 25 to 1 on somebody that's grown up in those conditions. I just think it's quite good odds. That's giving you the same odds as Scotty Scheffler each way if he finishes in the top 5. So
Yeah, that's incredible
well
value,
worth
isn't it?
sticking a tenner on each way,
Yeah,
getting quarter odds. I think you get and top 5 paid out. So yeah, if he's 25 to 1, you're essentially going to get depending on his odds, anywhere between 5 and 8 to 1. You'll get each way for
yeah.
your money if he lands in the top 5. And then moving on from Robert McIntyre, somebody that was on everyone's radar for years, disappeared off everybody's radar, seemed to have a low at the same time as his partner in crime, is Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas's odds, when I checked this morning, were 35 to 1.
Wow.
This is a guy. He's coming off the back of the RBC Heritage win. In his stats, short game stats, so his approach game stats, are in the top 10 on tour so far this year, which is crucial for links golf when we're talking about. Yeah, so his approach game is sitting in the top 10 on tour so far this year because he's really starting to turn it on. His game's coming right back around, and I think that's crucial for links golf. Short game round a links course is super important. I've got the privilege of living down the road from one, and I take my little boy sometimes to have a hit around there. And it's just like when I'm walking from one hole to another and we go through the rough, I'm thinking, how does anyone hit out of these things? So, obviously you've got to get off the tee well, but if you're not hitting the greens or you're landing anywhere in the rough, your game's got to be incredible to be recovering out of that. So for somebody like Justin Thomas, who's turning on the style with his short game right now, I think he's a great shout at 35 to 1, and also two-time major winner as well. So he's been there. We know he can do it if he's in the running. So again, if we're talking about getting similar odds to the favourites, Rory and Scotty, 35 to 1, sticking a tenner each way on that. If you're going to do it for him to finish in the top 5, you'll get quarter odds. Quarter the odds.
Quarter odds. Yeah.
And if you want to do it for the top 8, you'll get a fifth of the odds. So even with that, you're still getting better odds than Scotty. So yeah, I would say that's a fantastic option to look at for getting an each way bet on, just to get a bit of a return, finishing in the top 5 or top 8.
So who are, obviously you'll have checked this out, but who are the top sort of 3-4 favourites according to the bookies?
Yeah, so you've got Scotty's going to be favourite, and then Rory's going to be second. So they'll be sitting around 5 to 1,
Yeah.
maybe 9 to 2, something like that, and 6 to 1. Let's have a quick look now.
What are your thoughts on our boy Rory? Because it sort of seemed like the fairy tale scenario for him, that he's not, won a major for many, many years.
Yeah.
Portrush, Irish boy, local boy.
Yeah.
He's going to turn up, or he shot a 61 or something when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
It was all building for that. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? Obviously, he won the Masters, and he's
the thing
not...
is, mate, on his day. But when we talk about Scotty, right, we talk about the consistency. We thought Rory would be the next Tiger Woods, and it just hasn't turned out that way for him. He's an unbelievable player, and like I said, he's got that aura. I want to follow him around when I'm at live tournaments and I'm watching the pros play. He's the one I'd want to follow around if I didn't want to get stuck behind 3,000 people. But when it comes to delivering on the day, it's a coin toss for him, isn't it? So, like I said, I think, what was it? Couple of years ago in the Open on day one, he had an absolute disaster. and he does have that in the bag. Very, very seldom would you see someone like Scotty or even Bryson right now, the form Bryson's in. You don't see them having meltdowns and disasters. Or also, Rory's getting over that issue that, we'll probably never experience the pressures of being on a Sunday, 3 foot putt to win something and then blowing it. We'll probably never experience those pressures, but you can only imagine it's massive. And to have done that a couple of times in the last couple of years and blown his chance to have obviously won big tournaments, regardless whether he's gone on to win other tournaments from then, things like that must sit fresh in his mind and impact his confidence in going out onto those courses. Don't get me wrong, I expect these guys to go out there and believe they're going to win every time they go out there, someone of Rory's caliber. But these sorts of things, they must sit in their mind and haunt them. And they're the sort of things that make me wonder, can they get on top of them early doors thinking about what ifs before they're actually even out there on day 3 and day 4? So I always find with Rory, my heart says yes, he can do it, but my brain always says like they're on the side of caution. And like I said, I'm not one to be picking the favourites. I spent too much of my youth doing that. Going, oh, I'll go with the favourite.
Yeah,
He's
lump it
got
on
to
the
win it,
favourite.
and then
Yeah.
watching them just about make the cut, and not quite get anywhere in the end. And then you've got like a 40 to 1, 60 to 1 sitting in the top 5, and I'm sitting there thinking, that's obviously a better option to go 5-10 quid each way on a bet like that, and
Yeah.
then only have to finish in the top 5 or top 8 depending on what odds you want to go with or what finishing positions you want to go with, than picking the favourite who's rarely going to come in on the nose
Yeah.
in a field of anywhere between 50 and 80 players.
I feel like you got a better experience with doing something like that as well, because
Yeah.
you could probably, write it off in your head a little bit more and just go,
Yeah.
well, I just took a tenner on somebody who's a 40 to 1 shot, fine.
Yeah, and not
And then if it
expect
doesn't come in,
anything back from it.
that's
Yeah.
it. But if it's coming in, you're like, oh, it's going to happen, it's
Yeah.
going to happen,
And
come
you know
on.
what I found as well is if I really want Rory to do well, like I want him to do well this week, I really do. I don't want to put any money on it because I don't want to sit
Yeah.
there like stressing, going, "Don't mess this up, Rory."
Yeah.
It's like much better to just let all that go. Don't worry about that, and then just enjoy watching him play. And then there's more chance of him winning if my money's not on him as well.
Absolutely. It's like the driving range, mate. Exactly the same thing.
It's exactly what it is.
Now, obviously, last time the Open was at Portrush, another local
Yeah.
boy won it. That was Shane Lowry.
Yeah.
So, what's his? And I must admit, I'm ignorant about this, so I don't really know what's going on with him at the minute. But what's his form looking like going into the tournament? And I think they've made a few changes. I think there's 2 or 3 holes have actually changed completely now.
Yeah.
From what it was when he won. But he was
Yeah,
like
it's a
6 shots
shame.
ahead, wasn't he, going into the last round
He
or the
was.
last hole?
Yeah. He's just a steady golfer, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
he's playing well. Let's have a look where he's sitting right now. So he's about 11th favourite with the bookies. His odds, according to this, with Ladbrokes, are about 22 to 1
Right.
win. So
Okay.
he's sitting around. There's like a cluster of players that I put in the same category. It's Shane Lowry, Tyrrell Hatton, Aberg at the moment. That guy was bordering on going into the elite cluster with your McIlroys, DeChambeaus, and Schefflers, but he's having a bit of a time. But
He's
yeah,
just
your
such a cool
Fleetwood,
guy.
Morikawa, they are all sitting around that kind of Lowry. I'd say they're all top 10 players, but they're all kind of sitting just outside that top 3, aren't they? And Shane's still there. Like he's playing well at the moment. He's definitely got tournament wins under his belt, and at any point he could play out of his skin and win a major competition,
Yeah.
a big competition. So there's a chance that he could do it, but once again you wouldn't say, oh yeah, he's my favourite, he's definitely going to win.
Yeah. So we're saying out of the sort of Brits, we're probably thinking Bob McIntyre is your smart money.
Yeah, purely financially.
Yeah.
If you were to ask how he's going to fare, if there was no odds, we weren't even talking about the betting side of it, and we were just like, where do we think people are going to finish? I'd probably go Rory, Shane, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about odds, and if McIntyre's sitting, what did I say, was about 35 to 1?
Yeah.
25 to 1 maybe. Oh, do you know, actually it's 25 to 1. I'll tell you for why. I did a bit of research a couple of weeks ago into this, and Rob McIntyre was sitting at 50 to 1.
Oh, wow.
Now,
Okay.
there's obviously been a massive influx in bets come in
Yeah.
on Robert McIntyre for him to drop to 25 to 1. And I'm
Yeah.
talking massive. That's a massive swing.
Yeah.
So, maybe there's someone out there thinking along the similar lines of, home course, understands links golf really well, in pretty good form, and maybe it's time for Rob to have a high finish.
I mean, it'd be great, that wouldn't it? It'd be great
It
for
would
Britain
be,
to win it anyway.
yeah,
But yeah, I think nice guy to boot
yeah,
makes a nice story there, doesn't it? We've
it
got
does.
now I sort of mentioned I'd watched quite a few videos of the actual course over the last couple of nights. Now it looks tough. We've got to play it at some point, and it looks like a tough course that.
Yeah,
So I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on some big characters in golf, and this isn't based on any form. It's not based on any odds or anything like that I've looked at. It's names that I think let's maybe chat about what we think they're going to actually end up doing. And I'll start with a guy that you have already actually mentioned. That's Bryson DeChambeau.
okay,
Obviously his stock has risen so high, hasn't it? Because he interacts with everybody.
yeah,
Opinions totally changed on him. Like I
yes.
wasn't a big fan of his, and then
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
we invited.
Sorry, I just
that's all
clicked
right.
on link Bryson to see if I
That's
could put it to
Bryson.
my stats
He's
and got a video.
he's on the podcast. It's great. Yes,
That's it.
Bryson. See, he's interacting with everybody. It's great.
I think similar to you, Nish, I was never really a big fan of his. I'm trying to think back to why, and I think for me he was just so loud in the face
Mm,
of golf, if you know what I mean. Like there was just something about him where I was like, I found him a bit arrogant. Um, but also what now, when you get a bit older, you start to realize that you've got narrative pushed in your face all the time. And
mm,
the media obviously love it because it gets them so much attention when they're reporting on somebody and showing that side of them all the time. But what we've seen in Bryson is a massive change, not necessarily in character. He's still a larger than life sort of guy, He still wears his heart on his sleeve and believes in his philosophies and will, insist in the way that he's doing things and not be deviated by what anyone's opinions are. But you've seen like a bit of a soft change to his mannerisms and his behaviors in general when it comes to realizing people's opinions of him. And it seems to have had a really positive effect, I'd say, especially in the last 5 years. There's been a real character change with Bryson DeChambeau, and I find him fascinating now. Like he's really interested to watch. Some of his social media stuff I think is really interesting as well. When he was doing the,
oh,
chipping the ball,
the hole in one
yeah,
challenge.
over
Yeah,
his house. I'm watching that thinking this is fantastic content. Like my little
yeah.
boy sat watching that on YouTube, and he was like, "This is amazing.
That
Can we
sort of
try that?" And I'm
transcended
like,
golf, I
"Absolutely
think.
not. Yeah, we're definitely not going to try that because we'll have no windows left." Definitely prone to a fin and a shank now and again. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
but yeah, no,
It's the neighbours'
as
windows
a
you need to watch out for, mate. That's the
that's
one for
it.
me.
As a golfer though, he's fascinating to watch because his drives are so long and they're so like they put him into positions that no other golfers, other than a very small amount, like Rory can obviously hit monster drives, and there's a couple of other players on the tour that can hit these monster drives, but he takes these drives to a different dimension.
Hmm.
But also with his game, with his mega drives, they can leave him in such difficult positions that
Yeah,
he's got to have extra kind of talents and skills to get out of some of the problems he finds himself in.
yeah,
And some of the miracle shots he pulls off, just fascinating to watch. And he's really
yeah.
entertaining.
I think initially the thing that turned me off Bryson was this whole kind of he was trying to break golf, wasn't he? He was trying to like crack a code, and it's like this is a
Almost
way to
reinvent the wheel sort of thing, like
yeah. That
but
it seemed like it wasn't like we're brought up on a diet of Sevi, of Jose Maria Olazábal, people like that who are like
yeah,
they've got that magic in their hands, and it's like this artistry of golf.
yeah,
And I mean, we still do it now. The Europeans. I mean, I'll probably close the book on how many times the Europeans are going to mention Sevi at the Ryder Cup. It's do it for him, do it for him. There's got to come a point where you break away from that. But I think that's ingrained in our psyche so much. When we talk about Bob McIntyre, like he looks like such an elegant player.
yeah,
You would know nobody would describe Bryson's swing or or play as elegant. It's just incredibly effective.
Yeah,
But
it's brute, but it's pretty accurate. It
But
is
yeah, but I
pretty.
mean, what I find interesting about that was, and this is how I felt about it, and I think I'm sure a lot of other people did as well. But what I found fascinating about that is that we're all looking for a way to just get good scores. Like I look at
Yeah.
my swing, I look at the video, and I go, "Oh, that's awful." However, if I'd have filmed that hole, don't wish to bring it up again, but I will. If I'd have filmed that hole in one
It's got
swing,
a
I
whole
probably
lot
looked
of
at it.
people.
I know, mate. A couple of weeks ago, couldn't believe it. Let me tell you the story about. um, if I broke it down, I'd look at it and I'd go, "That's a terrible swing. Like, that's not something that I want to associate myself as. That's what my swing looks like." And yet, it was incredibly effective and just
Mm.
worked. And I find it interesting that he's almost given people some of the formula of how to break golf or how to do better at golf. I mean, a couple of things that he said. Everyone should go out there and play from the forward tees at some point in their life,
Yeah.
because get used to scoring, get used to getting yourself in a position where you're shooting for birdies and eagles and things like that. Get used to it, because you're not going to do it from the yellows. You need to be on the forward tees.
Hmm.
Things like, he's got his iron shafts all the same length. He's like, I don't have to change anything in my swing. It's just the loft of the club. There was a thing he was talking about, was grip width and thickness of your grip on your golf
Yeah.
clubs. And this is actually something John Daly pulled up as well. And he said, the number one thing that if amateurs changed, which is the thickness of their grip, they would improve straight away. Now, fascinatingly, Bryson says it's your grip thickness and you can improve it. And he's like, oh, yeah, the scientist, blah, 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 whatever. John Daly says it. And John Daly's like, again, this kind of mythical character in golf, isn't he? Plays barefoot. Just wild
Smoking a
thing.
cig, drinking a beer.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's basically your hero to recreational golfer.
Yeah.
But he says it, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, okay." Well, John Daly said that, it kind of. So it's interesting, but I find there is that softening to his persona
Yeah.
now, and it isn't. He's not doing anything different. Like I see him doing these videos when he's doing longest drive, and he's like pumped,
Yeah.
American,
But again,
like
mate, those opinions and the negative narrative was coming, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago when he
yeah,
first kind of came onto the scene and made a big impact. And it was all we were seeing was the science behind Bryson's mind and why he does what he does.
yeah,
But now you're seeing like it's been broken down now, and there's been so much coverage, and he's obviously more prevalent on his platforms, Instagram, YouTube, and things like that. People are seeing actually he's a really cool guy, and he's trying to benefit himself and others. He's not just keeping it all to himself. He's like, this is what I'm doing, this is why, this is the benefits from it, and all the rest of it. But what I will say is, you're absolutely spot on about that change, because I was at my local golf course a couple of weeks ago, and there was a young lad talking to another young lad on the putting green, and he said he was going to play around from the front tees because Bryson said it was a good idea. So the power of the influence of influential people is there 100%. And to hear a
yeah,
young, he must have been like 18, 19, say he's going to play the front tees because Bryson said it was a good idea. So there's no stigma for that kid around the fact that it would be classed as the women's tees. They're just
yeah.
called red tees now, aren't they?
That's it. Absolutely
And
right.
he's prepared to do it because he saw that Bryson said it was a good idea to improve your game. So
Yeah, he's in my opinion, he's probably the biggest sort of character in golf at the minute. And I
yeah,
think even little things like you see him, he'll be at tournaments and he'll make sure that he's there for an hour signing stuff for fans, and he'll prioritize
yeah,
the young fans who are there because they're the future of the game. Now, what do you want from the people that are at the top of the game? And that is to grow it, to keep it interesting, to keep it exciting for young people.
yeah,
And he's doing all of that. And the fact that he's opened his life up basically on social media. I mean, YouTube he's all over it, isn't he?
yeah,
Absolutely all over it. There's always
yeah,
something, and he's got an opinion about everything. And it's great
yeah,
to see. I'll be fascinated to see how he gets on actually, because having had a look at the course in quite a lot of detail now, there's a lot of places that you can. I mean, what they've done and what came out from some of the videos was that when they actually do play, they've got the tees moving quite far back, so they want the course to play as as we would play it. So a bunker at 250 is in play, and you need to consider whether you're going to fly it or not. But they want the pros to feel that as well. Yes, of course, if you're a 350 carry kind of driver, then there's nothing that they can do that's going to take that out of the equation. It's just down to can you be accurate or not. But on average, if the normal Tour Pro is kind of driving it, carrying it 300 yards, you move that tee back 50 yards, you suddenly brought it into play, and there's a bit more tactics involved in
Yeah.
what's going on. And I found that fascinating as a thing to do for a golf course. What I also found interesting was they've obviously started getting all the grandstands and things like that up, but when you look at a lot of the holes and tees, as classic link, I mean, it's not such a classic links course in that it's flat. You know, I lived near the sort of the Gulf Coast, Southport. They're all quite flat courses. Some of them are actually relatively featureless because you play them and there's nothing to see for miles around, but you're sort of within the hole. But there is a lot of undulation. There's a lot of hills and mounds and things like that. There's a lot of blind tee shots, blind approach shots, things like that. I think that's going to really be a test. Classic phrase, test of all-round golf. Of course, that's what it's supposed to be. But I think your long drivers, I think, are probably have to dial it back a little bit. It seems because these landing spots seem really, really narrow. You know, when you look at St Andrews, whenever somebody's playing that on the telly, you can spray it a bit there, can't you? Because you just got these big, wide, rolling fairways. I didn't get the impression that you were getting that from Portrush.
No,
It seemed
you're
anyway.
not getting there. You're not getting up there. And of course, like I said, if you are going to miss the fairway at somewhere like Portrush, you're going to be in deep trouble. They're pretty unforgiving. Links courses in general are unforgiving, but yeah, you're talking about an open course, an open classic course, that would be one.
I feel like it's fairer though than what they were doing at the US Open just recently at Oakmont. That felt like
with how crazy that was.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's what they were doing with the rough. I mean, it was just like But I mean, to be fair, it gave us a good tournament. The end result was one person finished under par and he won the tournament. So you could argue that it had its effects and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still feel Chris feels the opposite to me, to be honest, Harbs, on this, because he always feels that it needs to be the toughest it can be. I want to see these people really struggling, and that's what it should be.
Well, let's be honest, mate. One person finishing under par on a golf course at their level, compared to what we're used to seeing them finish 15, 25, 23 under, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That is the golf course fighting back, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It really was. But that's a subtle change. There's many ways to make it harder, right? So in the past, we've talked about shortening the holes. We've talked about changing the golf balls so that the impact on, or pressure on impact, is reduced on the golf ball so they can't go as far. We talked about all these different things, but never once did it cross my mind that just making the rough a bit longer would cause them so many problems. And it was incredible. It was incredible to watch, multiple elite players doing air shots straight underneath the ball.
Yeah, I mean,
sitting so proud on the grass, but yet buried so deep. How many times did we see a club go underneath the ball and it either not move or just pop out a little bit? You're just like, wow, that's one of my normal shots out of my rough. So to see them do it kind of felt fair.
Well, all the memes of one of us kind of thing kept coming up, didn't they? And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was fascinating to watch though, and I do like the idea of having it evened up, but I like seeing people shoot 22 under. I like seeing them excel in their field of expertise and proving, why they are so damn good at what they do. And I like the longer holes and courses that we've got now, and that players have got to come to the tee box being able to hit the ball 350 yards. These are things that didn't exist 25 years ago. Tiger was obviously a freak of nature that could hit the ball long, had incredible iron play, incredible short play, and was just a demon with the putter. So we're talking about like the odd elite person will come along and light it up based on what's in front of them. Now you've got to be somebody that can hit the ball just out of sight far.
Yeah,
And then
stratospheric,
you've got,
really.
and now you've got to have the most insane short game to hold the greens these days. Like some of the greens, when the balls are landing on them, like again, the US Open, the balls were just vanishing off the greens. It's like
Mm,
so many problems there. But these guys have got to have so many kind of tweaks to their game that they perhaps didn't need to be so concerned about 20 plus years ago.
yeah,
So golf's just evolving and it is getting harder, but these guys are just finding quicker ways, quicker solutions, I guess, to
yeah.
figuring out these problems.
It's interesting actually, just
I like it.
talking through the characteristics of the course. So again, another video I watched was about talking about the greens actually, and
Mm.
something I didn't know, and I've obviously taken it into account now. But so on a links course, the greens at Portrush are like carpet.
Yeah.
Like they're just as smooth as you like. One thing that was interesting that came up was that the grass is longer, and that's because it's right next to the coast, and it needs to be a bit the plant needs to be a bit more resilient to the being buffeted by the wind,
Okay.
which means that you don't get as much break. So you can probably go for the hole a little bit more. And I remember a friend of mine who was a member at Birkdale, and he said, from long range putts, the tip I can give you is just go for the hole.
Okay.
Don't try and overcomplicate it. Don't try and overread anything like that. Just go for the hole and try and get your pace right, because things will generally tend to feed in and it's not going to break as much. Which I found fascinating, because you've got quite a lot of people who have all the attributes of the long game. And actually, it's the guy we mentioned right at the top of the episode, and that was Scotty Scheffler. He does have his moments with his putter, but if he's going to find more putting friendly conditions, that's certainly something that might work in his favour.
Yeah, or not, in my opinion,
Okay,
because he's so good with his putter that if the conditions make it easier, does that bring the rest of the players
interesting. Yeah. Everyone,
into the mix with their putting a bit more?
yeah,
Whereas, before he was just so good with the putter, he's kind of out on his own really with his putting stats.
mm.
Um, does that bring everyone else more into play because they've got less break to worry about and they're finding it easier to find the pace and speed of their putts? So
I mean, it's going to be fascinating. They've got
yeah,
a par three. I think it's the 16th. I can't remember what it's called. However, it's a par three that's 205-yard carry, full on ravine on the right hand side. You've got a safe play on the left, but obviously par three. These guys are looking at getting it close and all that kind of thing. I think that's going to be a tough hole for them to play. And I think there was another one, the 14th. I think I want to say, where maybe it's not the 14th, maybe it's the 5th. I think it's the 5th actually. You drive and there's two bunkers pretty much right where the landing zone is, and then the hole turns to the right. So you need
yeah,
to really be good at distance control with the wind. Who knows? And then the green is all kind of like right at the end of the property, I suppose, where the golf course, and it just all falls away to a beach. So interesting to see if anybody ends up playing from the beach at any point. I don't know if there's any out of
yeah,
bounds stakes on there,
yeah.
but
So
yeah, I'll
just
be
out of curiosity, talking about the putting as well, what's your opinion? Do you think it's more important to be better at finding the line or the pace?
pace every
Let's
time.
say you could only pick one.
Yeah, pace every time.
Yeah,
I think you can, unless it's. I mean, line is one of those weird things, isn't it? Like, I think most people can read a good putt. There's
yeah.
very few people that you look at. Everyone has their little moments in a round where you really completely misread it, or you see somebody else put it and you go, "Oh, I saw that as a right to left, and that's gone the other way around." I think that's quite
I did
rare.
one at your
You
invitational
did.
where I put one with a break which I was convinced was left to right and it went 20 foot in the wrong direction. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I was like, "We'll
got the
take note."
pace right though.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I think pace is one thing that gives you confidence in your putting, because if you know
Yes.
you're always going to drop it within let's say, a bin lid within a 3-foot radius of the hole,
Yeah.
you're giving yourself more two putt chances the whole
Yeah.
time, and you're never
There you
going to
go.
lose confidence. I think if you can pass off a misread really easily. You can just go, "Oh well, I didn't quite get the break right."
Yeah.
But when you don't get the pace right, and we've all done it, haven't we? You get a really long putt, and like, I've not hit it. Like, I've just not hit that putt, and it's like, it's the most frustrating thing in the world, isn't it? And you
Yeah,
leave it halfway.
absolutely. There
Like
you
it,
go. Top tip for the viewers from 218 handicappers.
yeah.
Get the
pace.
pace right.
17.1 actually,
let
but
us know how to do it as well.
yeah, exactly right. Right. Now, it would be remiss of me to not ask you, who do you think is the real outsider in all of this? This is for your cheeky £2,
Yeah,
maybe a fiver if you're feeling a bit flush, but
yeah.
who's your real
I've got three
outsider?
picks for you.
Oh,
I've got
nice.
3 picks for you. So the first pick I'm going to give you is purely because I saw the odds and my eyes lit up. I was like, well, I find that surprising. So Wyndham Clark. If I say the name Wyndham Clark, and I'm guessing you've not looked at the odds or anything, right?
Nope.
So if
Nope.
I said Wyndham Clark, where would you, just off the top of your head, think he's likely to finish?
Wyndham Clark. I think he's probably in a top 15 to 20 position. I would say Wyndham
Yeah,
Clark.
yeah.
That's
So
where I
if
pitch
you're
him.
talking about a player that you instantly think, no matter what the tournament on the PGA would be, you would probably put him in the top 15 to 20
Yeah.
finishes, and let's say 30% of the time they're going to finish in the top 10. So if I were to tell you that his odds for this are 75 to 1.
Okay.
So
Right.
yeah. Now don't get me
Interesting.
wrong. I think he's had quite a turbulent time. I remember watching back to when the documentary on Netflix, Full Swing, first came out,
Yep. Yep.
and Wyndham he was flying, but just couldn't quite get over the line, wasn't he? He was really struggling to just finish on that final Sunday. And then we got to see that he was seeing some sort of mental therapist to kind of help him, and that really improved his game. And then I think since the second season of that, I saw a bit of a decline in him, not making some cuts, not finishing as high as he's used to. And then 2023, he goes and wins the Open, which is fantastic. So one thing,
Where was
obviously,
that?
that tells me straight away.
I can't remember what course it was that he won the Open at then. So where would that have been?
It tells you
20.
straight away though that he's got the minerals, if you like,
Yeah, yeah.
to get across the line.
And by all accounts, he's also got the strength to break a few lockers. So that could be an interesting thing to have.
It was held at the Los Angeles Country Club.
Yeah,
Beating Rory McIlroy.
yeah. Interesting. That was a tough course, that one.
It was, and he
Actually.
finished 10 under par.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, he
pretty
was on fire
impressive.
that day, wasn't that weekend,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
yeah, it was. Yeah, and he played so well, so consistent. Some attributes about his game. Again, he's a solid putter. So if these greens are working into the favour of people that are solid putters and enhancing their putting ability, again, I think that firmly works in his favour. Um, the odds are reflecting, obviously, the decline of his recent finishes in his last his last year of tournaments, I guess. But when I watch him play, you can see his class. He's gonna bounce back. He's one of those players I think is gonna bounce back. Probably would have been nicer to see some better finishes in some of his previous tournaments, but seeing 75 to 1 and knowing that guy's capable of winning a massive event such as the Open, I think that's great odds to stick a couple of quid each way.
Great. So we got
On
Wyndham
Porter.
Clark. That's a good one.
The next one was somebody that I watch play because whenever the PGA is not on, I do like to watch the DP World Tour,
Hmm.
and especially got to see a lot of it over in Dubai while I was over there as well. So Rasmus Højgaard, so he was incredible on the DP World Tour. I mean, a couple of wins on there, and just watching him play, absolutely fantastic. He's a big hitter as well, and he's got such a pure strike of the ball, and he's got pretty good percentages when it comes to greens in regulation as well. So when we're talking about one of the most important things around a course like Portrush is hitting the greens in
Yeah.
regulation.
Yeah.
If he's somebody that does that consistently, I think he'll put himself in with a shout of finishing in the top 10. Now, again, he's 80 to 1. He's not someone I think is going to go and win it.
No.
But if you gave yourself 1/5 odds at 80 to 1 and stuck a tenner each way on that, he's just got to finish in the top 8 then.
Yeah.
And I think he's the sort of person
Yeah, it's good
that
value.
has got something about him that on his day, I think something could happen. He could make something happen.
And that's it. That's what you're hoping for, aren't you? You know,
Yeah,
you put yourself in a position, then the day just hits you right, and
yeah,
then you've got a chance. Right,
yeah.
interesting. Okay,
Okay, and then third one
yeah,
is a player called Matthew Jordan.
Matthew Jordan. Yeah,
So
okay, yeah.
Matthew Jordan's currently sat at 150 to 1.
Wowzer. Okay,
Um, he's a player that's grown up playing links golf
yep.
from the Wirral. So he knows what it's like to play in these conditions. He's well
Hmm.
versed with it. And
Did
finishing
very
the
well at
top,
Hoylake.
yeah, finishing it, well, he's finishing the top 10.
Top 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he can definitely do it. He's proven he can finish in the top 10. It was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
Mm,
But we're talking about just going from the odds. So if we're going for 1/5 odds, got to finish in the top eight, 150 to 1, stick
makes
a
sense,
couple of
doesn't it?
quid on him, forget about it. And if you wake up the next morning, you've got, 50 quid sat in your bank account,
What a
happy
lovely
day.
story. Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'll make
Yeah.
up for all the other
Or
losses I've had.
£30 sat in your bank account, happy days. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Right, I'm liking that. That's good. I think we've got a good rundown of where our money could potentially go. Um, so while I've got you on, Harbs, you might as well listen to this as well because somebody might tap you up for a tip here. So obviously we've listened to Lee's tips for where to put your money. So we said at the start that we've got a special surprise for all of our listeners. So we've given you a bit of an insider guide into some of the betting, and what we've said is that if you head over to our YouTube channel, there's a live recording of this episode. So you find that video, subscribe to our channel, and you just comment the word "open" in the comments. As a listener of the podcast, we'll give you 2 entries into the draw to win a £10 free bet on us. So I'll give you a little bit of T's and C's. So I'll do this at like 3 times speed. So it's all very, very quick. It's a funny story about this, actually. So I was listening to the radio the other day, and my lad Aaron goes, he's only 8, but there was a thing about a competition, and then all of a sudden they go into the whole T's and C's, and they were obviously talking pretty quickly, and he went, "Oh my goodness, that person can talk really, really fast, can't they?" I thought, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't want to break his heart and say they just record it at normal speed, mate, and speed it up. But anyway, whatever, it's fine. So I'll try and do it as quick as I can. But the cut-off is going to be midnight on Tuesday, the 15th of July. So once we've got all the people who have subscribed and we've got all the people who've left a comment, we'll do a random draw, and we'll probably ask Lee to do that for us. And remember, if you listen to the podcast, you pop open in there, then you get two entries. And then we'll let you know. And on Wednesday, we'll be able to place that £10 bet for you. So all the very best. Now, I'm going to leave a little link in the description of the episode, obviously, so it's easier to get to the YouTube video. So it takes a little bit of work out. But I think we've got a really good flavour for what we can expect at the Open. I mean, I think we all want the romantic Rory McIlroy story, don't we?
Yeah,
I
we
think
do. We do.
that would be. Do you think he? Do you think he needs? Let's say he wins this Open. Do you think he needs to carry on playing?
Um, I think if you look back when Rory started winning, he was younger. I think he probably thought, and we all thought, like we said before in the
Tiger
podcast,
Woods, yeah.
he was going to become the next Tiger Woods, right?
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, it's perhaps a bit too late for him to stake a claim. But the difference between him and Tiger is he's gonna have the physicality and the body to keep playing through till he's probably in his late 50s, early
Yeah,
60s,
at that level,
at top
yeah.
level. So I think there's still time for him to really stake his claim for one of the best ever players to play golf, and I still feel like there's more to come from Rory. I really do, and I think if he wins it, I think it's just going to spur him on to try and his next goal will surely be to try and get back and topple Scotty for
Yeah,
the top
world number
spot.
one, yeah.
That's probably what he wants.
I was talking to Chris about this the other day because the Masters win came out of nowhere, and nobody really expected that. I think everything was geared towards the Open, that's going to be his next major. So it's kind of thrown a bit of a curveball, and he has been very spiky and prickly and things like that since. That's the sort of stuff that's given me the inclination or the opinion maybe that
Might want to step away.
he just wants to reduce that a little bit. I mean, look, he takes a lot of flack from people because he has put himself out there, particularly to be this figurehead of the PGA Tour, and he got kind of sold at the river a little bit. But I wonder if the Ryder Cup is going to come round at just the right time for him, just to rediscover that little, what is it, the little competitive sprinkling that you need. Especially something spicy happens.
Yeah, that spark of knowing they're hungry for something.
Yeah,
they're hungry for the win. They want to be there, be part of it. You're not wrong. Like, him disappearing off and not doing interviews. The tournament where he lost to Bryson on the final hole, and then he obviously didn't interview again and just disappeared. Things like that, and perhaps do feed into that narrative of, is he kind of losing interest, and does he just want to finish it off, get an open win, and disappear? But I don't know. I think when you're born with so much talent like these guys are, they want to be the best. They want to be the top dog, and it can just.
It's all he's done all his life.
Just think about like when we can have multiple bad rounds, and you go out there and hit a hole in one, and all of a sudden, I bet you can't wait to get out there again, can you?
I mean, less of the multiple bad rounds. You are right, but less of the multiple bad rounds.
I was talking about me then, but
I love it. Well, look, thank you for today, Lee. I think I'll pop your handle on the screen again, but look, please give Harb 7 Golfer a follow. He's on Instagram. He's also on YouTube. Lee's actually putting some really, really good content out there, and I think sometimes in amongst all the big boys, it gets a little bit forgotten that there are some of the smaller guys who are probably putting out equal quality of content. So if I can ask you one thing to do as a listener, as a viewer, is just drop up a follow. And it is, I promise you, it is entertaining. I'm not giving you any kind of...
Well, they might be a bit confused, Nish. I appreciate the positive comments, but they might be a bit confused when they jump onto my Instagram and my YouTube, because off the back of the Nish Invitational, one of the players who just happens to be my best friend for years and years was looking to get back into fitness after a little while out of fitness, and said, I want to do a challenge and I want you to do it with me. So bearing in mind I was hungover to hell off the back of the Nish Invitational on the Sunday, he said, starting Monday, we're going to do 100 push-ups every day for 100 days. And I thought, there's no better way for me to remain accountable than to be posting it on my social media. So in amongst every day posting me doing 100 push-ups, and they are sped up, so don't worry. It's less than a minute's content every time.
There are snippets
of golf. Yeah, there are snippets of golf put here and there, but if anyone wants to see an old man in pain every day doing 100 push-ups, feel free to jump on and watch that, because I'm sure some people are getting a kick out of it.
And to be fair, I do have to say that kind of stuff is, we're talking about Bryson before, that's the sort of stuff that's relatable. We're all in that same boat. We're all getting on a bit. I'm 45
but honestly,
now.
Mate, if nothing else, what am I on day 15 now? So I've done 1,500 push-ups in the last 15 days, and I feel great. It's weird. I mean, I've always been really fit all my life, and I've always got out there, played around a golf, felt great afterwards. But since moving out to Dubai, my life changing a lot, and then coming back, I've not actually been in the gym for nearly 2 years, which is a first for me. But it's a long time to be out of exercise. But I have found that since I've been doing this challenge, I feel great. I feel healthier. I feel happier. And come off the golf course on what are we today? On Friday, and I felt great for the first time in ages. So
yeah, I think that again, that's what you're putting it out there for, aren't you? You're holding yourself accountable, but also just if there's one person off the back of that just picks up and goes, you know what, I'm going to do that as well. That's a good idea. That's only good for them. So it's great.
And if anyone does want to give it a go, make sure you drop me a comment or leave me a tag or something, so I know you're doing it, and I'll drop you a like and a follow.
100%. 100%. Well, thanks, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Give it a go.
Yeah, you've just been cut off. I don't know what's happened. Something happened. I can't hear you anymore. There's lots of static, all sorts of things. But thanks for coming on today, mate. Really appreciate it.
No worries, Nish. Anytime.
Next time on the Top 110 Golf Podcast, we'll preview the next course we're playing, and that's Hindhead Golf Club. where we've got an extremely interesting story of how it all came about.